huge building with a huge roof, and they talked to the brewery and they said, could we put solar panels on your roof? They had a community share option again. They raised £350,000 from the community in shares, and they've now covered the brewery with 554 solar panels. And the local brewery brewed this special beer called Sunshine Ale to celebrate. And I love, you're going to think I'm a complete drunk, but I really love this idea that we use, the local beers will document the process, the transition that their community is going through. So this idea as well of communities owning their own energy company is really important. And I think coming back to that big idea about localization, one of the elements of that is how do we, rather than investing our pensions, any savings we might have outside of our community into the hands of usually reckless people who go and throw it away somewhere and don't look after it very well, what does it look like if we invest that into our communities in order to make this process happen? If we can shift pension money into our communities, it all starts to get rather interesting. So this is in Bath, and Bath Community Energy are planning within 5 years to have £11 million worth of renewable energy capacity in place, which will be generating 350, I should be doing this in euros, but I haven't quite got it, but it's about £350,000 every year for community projects. Because to do this transition properly, we need some money to put these systems in place. So they're looking at wind, they're looking at hydro, they're looking at solar, and they're a really exciting model and one that can be replicated in many places. Another ingredient is this idea of strategic thinking. If we're serious about localization of the places that we live, it's not going to happen by accident. And it's not going to happen just by doing odd little piecemeal things here and there. It's a process that needs to be seen as a strategic process. And there are various ways you can look at that. In Norwich, this is some of Transition Norwich, and they did a process called Can Norwich Feed Itself, where they mapped all the land around it. They were experts. There were some people there who were very good on food and all this sort of stuff. And they worked out the amount of land around Norwich that Norwich would need to be able to meet most of its food needs. And then they looked at what were the things that were stopping that happening. And it was that they needed some community farms. They needed a mill, a community mill. The last one had shut down about 50 years ago. So those things are all now being put back into place. But those projects sit within them having thought about it. They're not just sort of emerging at random.